Hello and what's up, my friends? Thunderbob here, and tonight we're going to be checking out a new VR game. This is Mutant Boxing League by Filmic Studios, who they were kind enough to send me two keys, one for myself and one that I'll give to a viewer of the video. Just drop me a comment below if you're interested. And this is an arcade-style boxing game. I've checked out a couple of the other boxing games out there, Thrill of the Fight and Creed, and this one's a little bit more on the arcade side of it, but I've really enjoyed my time with it. We're going to take a look at what's available in this package, and then we're going to go through a couple of matches, give you my thoughts on the game, and yeah, let's just jump right in. I'll also mention that this is a $24.99 game, though if you want to get 25% off, I'll have a link in the description and in the comments below if you want to get a little bit of discount on that game right now. Alright, to start off with from the main menu here, you get kind of like a 2D background. There are a bunch of different backgrounds for the different match areas, and then you got match. You got, I think it's 6 or 7 different fighters here, each with different unique mechanics. There are also different gloves that you unlock. I've only unlocked the first 2 in maybe an hour or 2 of playing so far. There's multiple difficulties as well. Each glove seems to have kind of like a unique mechanic to it. Like there's a power glove that like you charge up and it punches harder, but you have to build it up by getting successful hits in. And then each of these seem to have different kind of mechanics and different ways that you unlock them through challenges. From the main menu here is also a training option. It's just a really basic, like it's like maybe a 3-minute training mode. It shows you the basics, and then each of the different gloves also has a training mode. You know, it's nice, there's voice acting, it's thorough enough. Shows you the stance, it shows you how to punch, it shows you how to dodge. Like, it got me up and running within about 2 to 3 minutes. Overall, a pretty good training mode, all things considered. And then beyond the training, there's a mini-games option. And at first I was like, oh, this is just kind of like a Beat Saber Audio Shield kind of clone. They just kind of threw it in here to add, you know, more content to the game. But then when you're actually playing through a match, if you get knocked out, these mini-games randomly pop up, and you have to succeed at them to get off the ground within the 10-second countdown. You'll see that when I get into the matches. So it's like, there's actually a little bit more of a reason for these mini-game practices to be here. And they're kind of fun. You know, they're very basic and simplistic. It's not anywhere as deep as, like, you know, a full Beat Saber game. And it's like, very quickly the speed ramps up where you are going to die. Like, it gets so crazy fast really quickly. And that I didn't see a leaderboard, though. In the description for the game, it did talk about competing with your friends on leaderboard, so maybe there is one hidden somewhere, or maybe it's getting added in. But you know, there's probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 mini games here of varying complexity, and these all just randomly pop up in the match that you have to, you know, be successful at to get back up off the ground. And then from the menu you get the last option, which is challenges, which are basically just it's how you unlock like the gloves and the various fighters. You know, there's basic, epic, and legendary, and it's like knock, you know, a certain opponent out or reach a certain score, that kind of stuff. Just kind of basic challenges. Okay, now we're going to jump in and do a couple of matches at the different difficulties. And there's Rookie, Experienced, and Champion, and this is mostly like how much damage they do, how fast their punches are to give you time to dodge, that sort of thing. It also, on the screen, there's like dodge arrows in the lower difficulties, and those are gone in the higher difficulties. Alright, so we're going to jump in. This is literally the first fighter in the game on the lowest difficulty, and then I'm going to show you a couple of the other fighters, and then at the end I'm going to show you the same match against the hardest difficulty, just to kind of give you a comparison. And you'll see like the arrows on the screen showing you how to dodge, where to attack. On the higher difficulties, those are gone, so if you're concerned like, hey, why are they telling you when to attack and stuff, that's just because this is the lowest difficulty. And this difficulty is pretty easy. You're not going to see me get hit or knocked down too much. I'm not a master at it by any means at boxing, so in the later difficulties you definitely will see me get hit a lot more. And you see like that power punch, it seems like each fighter has like a unique move, and that's the one that this guy has, and you really want to dodge that, I learned later, or else it will go right through your block. Like if you raise your gloves up, you block, and then you physically dodge out of the way left or right. They recommend dodging to the way the the arm comes in. Like you see the arrow when he punches with his left, it's pointing me to go that direction. You really don't have to do that. As long as your head is out of the way, like you could physically duck and it will miss you. You could also move around the play space, and the enemy, your opponent, will kind of follow along with you. I'm going to try to move around here. It doesn't seem to add like a great deal of strategy. It's just it lets you do that. He kind of locks onto you and you kind of move around him in a circle. He always kind of stays the same distance from you, so it didn't seem to have like a great deal of strategic value or anything. But I know some of the boxing games, like I don't think Creed let you move around nearly as much of the ring from what I remember. And like each fighter does seem to have kind of different mechanics, different gloves they're using. Like his power punch, I think it's just the power glove you can unlock, which I'll show in one of the later matches. Which when you get a couple of successful hits in, you can basically pull the trigger and you do like a power attack like that. I've only unlocked the first couple gloves. There does seem to be a pretty good variety of them as you progress. And you get those by completing the different difficulties and by meeting certain challenges. But it definitely does feel like that Mike Tyson style, like arcadey boxing game versus like a more technical, like Thrill the Fight feels a little bit more technical. But this one does still give you a decent workout. Like after, I don't know, 5 matches or so, I'm a little winded. Even with my fan on, I could feel just a little bit of sweat starting. And I won this match, you see, by points. Sorry if the audio cut out here. I get an achievement, which killed my audio for some reason. And here's another fighter. He's got like a heavy punch that even if you block, it will deal some damage. So you have to dodge that. He's got like almost like a roundhouse. And you'll see on the screen there on the right, that's the meter for the power glove that I'm using in this match. That's only on my right glove, and as I successfully get hits, and whenever I finally get one here, you'll see that build up. There it is. When that bar gets full, there's that roundhouse that you have to dodge. When that meter gets full, I can do my power attack. So it's kind of cool. There are some additional kind of mechanics and strategy. Yeah, you see that roundhouse. I didn't realize at the time. And here's that little mini game I was talking about. So there's a bunch of these. This is like an arcade style, like lights out game. And then when you get enough of them right, it will throw you back into the match. So that's where like that kind of arcadey feel comes into play here. And this guy was kind of tough. That power attack really knocked me down. And then bam, back to a little mini game I got to do here. And this match feels a little bit weird because I get knocked down a whole lot, but I still end up winning. Like the point system seems a little funky. Like you'll see at the end, it shows like how many of the different types of hits and dodges, and like he's getting a lot of those roundhouse hits on me, but it didn't seem to be impacting his score. So I wonder if there's something kind of funky with the way the score is, or maybe it's just because this is on a lower difficulty. But you can see like right there, like I've got triple his points right now, but like if you watch this video, I kind of got my ass kicked. Another thing I'd mention is there doesn't seem to be any multiplayer, like where you could box against other real players. That seems like, you know, a really deal breaker for some people. Multiplayer really can expand the longevity of a game. But if there's not an audience, it's kind of wasted at times. So like I kind of get not wanting to invest a lot of resources. It's an app lab game, which I in some cases kind of consider like a early access game. So maybe it'll get added in later. There's no promise from the developer that I've seen, but that would be a really cool addition. I also hope that there's some more versions later. I think right now this is limited to just the MetaQuest. It would be nice to see some PC VR, PlayStation VR as well. Also mentioned that it runs really smoothly. Like I was recording at 1080p while I was playing this on the headset, and I didn't run into any slowdown, any frame drops. I mean, the backgrounds are super simplistic. It's just like 2D drawn on backgrounds, but the character models are quite good for the MetaQuest. There's not a lot of like stuff going on in the level and in the foreground, but like it runs really nicely. I think that's more important. And the backdrops that they do actually look really clean and really good, but they are just 2D backgrounds. Don't expect like a lot of complexity, a lot of movement or anything in them. And something that drew me to this was the name of the game, Mutant Boxing League. I used to love those Mutant League, like Mutant League football game, Mutant League hockey back in the day, and it doesn't seem like this has any connection to it. That was like the initial thing that drew me to it. I was like, oh, is this a new Mutant League game? And it doesn't seem to be. It's just kind of like these are mutant characters and they're boxing. But still, if you want to throw in a little bit of a callback to that, I would definitely love that. We're coming to the last couple seconds of the match here, and just watch the scoreboard. Like, if you watch this part of the video again, I kind of got my butt whipped here, and somehow I've got almost triple the opponent's score. I don't quite understand that. Like, look at the headshots and stuff. It shows me getting, like, so many more headshots, but they kept hitting me with that, like, roundhouse kind of punch. I don't know if that didn't count on the scoreboard, but something seemed a little off. And it's almost like as long as you don't get knocked out, you're probably okay. And here we are into the next fighter, and this person was super aggressive. I couldn't get this minigame. I don't know if it was bugged or what, but like I was following. I felt like the path, maybe I needed to use the other glove, but it knocked me out. So I'm not going to show you any more of this round because I got knocked out by KO, but this is what happens if you fail a minigame. And this fighter, super aggressive. I did bait them later, but yeah, that was my first loss. Okay, now we're gonna go back to that first fighter, but this is on the hardest difficulty. So there's not any arrows as far as like what way to block or dodge. There's no kind of pop-up to show like, hey, why don't you attack him here? So this is probably like the best way to play, to be honest. Like those arrows are kind of distracting, and honestly, sometimes it would tell me to block a certain way or dodge a certain way, and I feel like it wasn't actually that useful. But I am kind of getting my butt kicked here, so maybe they are useful. Yeah, here's those minigames. I think that's a pretty clever way to do the knockout. Like, you know, on a console boxing game, you'd probably be like mashing the A button or something to get off of the mat. Here it's actually like a little mini game, which is kind of cool. Like, I don't know, you could have done like, you know, pumping their heart or something, but it's kind of clever to have a mini game here. And I put, I don't know, maybe 2 hours into the game, and I've unlocked a couple of gloves. I've almost completed the kind of like the novice challenge so far. So it seems like there's a decent amount of content here. Like you could probably spend, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours, I would assume, on the harder difficulties. As you see at the end of the match here, the last fight, I get just blown away really easily. But overall, like, the time I spent with it, I've enjoyed it. The price tag, $24.99, seems maybe a little bit high for what you're getting here. But it's, you know, for a Quest game, it looks nice, it's polished, it works, it runs. Is it the best boxing game on the Quest? That's kind of hard to say. Like, Thrill of the Fight is really good. But if you're looking for something a little bit more arcadey, a little bit like more Mike Tyson versus like a, you know, more authentic boxing experience. Like sometimes I'm more looking for an arcadey experience these days. Like I play more Mario Kart than Gran Turismo. But if you are looking for a little bit more technical and a more realistic fighting game, you know, Thrill of the Fight or maybe Creed, that might be the direction to go. But if you're looking for just like a fun arcadey Mike Tyson kind of experience, I've enjoyed the time I put into this, and I'll probably try to beat at least the first of the modes here. And yeah, the only thing I wish, of course, that they would add multiplayer. I think that adds so much to this type of game, but it's hard to do that until you've got an audience. The problem is, you know, that audience is there day one, and if there's no multiplayer, they may never come back to it even if you add it. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. You have to add a lot of development time and money probably to add those kind of features in, but you know, if you add it later, those people may never be there to play it. But I'm going to end it with the end of this match here in a moment. I do recommend checking this out, and if you do buy it, you can use my link down below to get a discount until it's all used up. I think there's about 10 uses these days before those links stop working. I do get a kickback, but I just use that to purchase and share more stuff on the channel. If you like what I'm doing here, please feel free to check out some of my other content. I've got a lot of VR coverage lately. I do also just normal PC gaming and retro gaming. So if you like what I'm doing here, please consider subscribing, liking the video, drop me a comment below with your thoughts. Again, if you are interested in a free copy of this, drop me a comment below with some way to reach you, and I'll send you my key I've got. And I do just want to thank you again for watching, everyone. Have a great night.